Welcome, everyone. I'm Erin Becker, the Norma Jean Calderwood Director of the Cambridge Art Association. And today we're visiting with Margaret Sheldon, who's doing a residency at the Artists Association of Nantucket. This is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube later this week. And it's also being live streamed on Facebook. We will ask participants to stay muted throughout the session just because of our anticipated number of visitors. If you do have questions for Margaret, you can type them into the chat, which should be right around where my finger is. And you'll also see on the participant panel, there are some new features, including being able to clap or give a thumbs up if you want to. We hope you don't give us a thumbs down. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Margaret Sheldon and put her in the spotlight video. Welcome, Margaret.
Well, thank you. I have to admit, I have great sympathy for everyone who tried to keep their camera steady while filming one of these. It's just about impossible. But here I am doing an art residency that was supposed to start on March 13th. And we all know what happened on March 13th. I made a call. We were sort of trying to figure out what the impact of quarantine and COVID would be. And the decision, at that point, we didn't even know if the ferries would keep running or if anything on Nantucket would be open, let alone to visitors. So that was canceled, and really rough to reschedule it. They asked if I could manage to do 2 weeks in July, and I thought 2 weeks in July on Nantucket, very doable. So here I am. I unfortunately have a bum back, and I will not be able to show you the entrance to the Art Association. This is not the big gallery, which is, if you know Nantucket at all, it's downtown. This is where they really host the visiting artists. A number of artists rent studios here for the summer, and there's a lot of education programs that go on. So it's really quite something, and I have to say, more than I expected. Different than a lot of other residencies, and I'll show you why. But let me sort of give you the second floor tour, and hopefully as I point, this will make some sense. I will say right in front of me is an artist studio where there are two artists working presently. We have Christine, who's painting, and Zoe, who's making beautiful things, really beautiful things today with shells. And they are lucky enough to live here and spend a great deal of time making art in this building. Now I'm going to show you, because I think most people said they'd be curious to see what kind of digs I got. This is where I keep my paint clothes. Very important, you know, to get that stuff off before you sit on someone else's furniture. There's a lovely bathroom. I'm sure you can use your imagination there, but it's right when you come inside the door. And then I'm going to walk in and show you sort of what this is about. It's very simple. You can see there's a small kitchen. That is the closet. So I am being really careful about it. There is an Apple computer, but I think most of us bring our own laptops, so that hasn't been too much of an issue. But I do have this very beautiful balcony, not very big, more than what I require. I hope everyone can see that. I'm sort of in front of the camera and trying to show it to you, but you know, the option to be outside is pretty great. So I've loved that. Here, oh, am I going too fast? Here's my plein air pack, which I kind of sort through if I'm heading out. And if anybody has questions about that, I will tell you that I use the Coulter system, Jim Coulter. It's probably, of all my plein air kits, the one I use most often. It's light as a feather. And when you're traipsing around, particularly with a bad back, it's great. Now come down the hall. Down there, I'm going to show you. There are two studios. One for printmaking. So if anyone's a printmaker, I would highly recommend you think about it. And there are some artists painting. This is a classroom. It's where they sort of segregate. Adult classes are held upstairs. How great is this? Erin, we need this at the Cambridge Art Association. Everybody gets a little locker. And then I'm going to show you, as I have you walk in front of me, my studio, which, thank God, I have a dedicated sink and the all-important red pail. And then you come in here, and a little bit of storage, a very essential fan. I can't tell you how much that has come into play. I, of course, brought a few. This is my large French easel. This is my half, because, you know, if you're packing a car, why not pack everything? Let's see what I've got around here I can show you. The studio is not huge. I would say, maybe 9 by 15. Goes to show you how spoiled we are. But I've lined up some paintings that are just drying on the floor. There's a few. I'm working with a model. That's been pretty terrific. And that's sort of it, you know, I have lots of good material information if anyone wants it. And I think if I have your time and it's okay, I'm going to show it to you because it's important. I talked about my new favorite brush and I probably got 40 people asking me for details. I did put the details on my, well, I think it's on my Instagram, but I'll tell you, this little puppy has turned out to be maybe, I don't know, it's like it's a go-to now. You know, if anybody knows me, you can be sure I'm gonna order probably 3 more. This is, I'm gonna read it to you. A 3/8 inch Rosemary and Company evergreen dagger. Evergreen was named because for some reason one Christmas they thought it was clever to make a greenish tint you know, brush, and it is a dagger because it is so sharp. And I used it a lot to, when I was doing some figure work, you know, to sort of lay in the drawing. I just can't tell you, this brush has sort of stole my heart. When you buy anything from Rosemary, you get, I'm a sucker for the packaging. It used to be packed in like the newspaper from, you know, Surrey, England, but you get these wonderful brushes. I can't tell you, if you haven't tried Rosemary brushes, once you try them, it's impossible to go back. The other things that are around here, I'm not sure if I don't think I can change this around. I'd love to be able to show it to you reversed, but.
So Margaret, there should be the little arrows so you can reverse the camera.
That would help. Let me look. Oh, I bet it's this. Voila.
There you go.
Much better. Okay, Rosemary brushes. I've been keeping all my oils here. You are not allowed to use any toxic chemicals. Nantucket is remarkable both in their recycling efforts, water conservation, and in the art world, sort of material restrictions, but that's fine. I admit to being a liquid girl at home, but here I'm using walnut oil, or I have some linseed oil over there, and cleaning my brushes with, this is canola oil. Over there I have a jar of Murphy's. And, you know, when you are a guest, you do as you're asked, and I'm more than happy to do that. Some new business cards, because, you know, Nantucket. And pretty much I've had everything I need. If this little puppy, I'm going to tell you right up front, it weighs a ton, but it's so beautiful. How could I not have bought it about 2 years ago? And in this, let's see, it opens up, it's a toolbox. Let's see if I can do it single-handed. No. In this is all of my gouaches and watercolors, and I keep my watercolor brushes in there. It is not something I would ever want to take plein air painting, but, you know, if I'm sitting here and I'm doing sketches, it's easy enough to work with it. I have to say, you know, you got to love your tools, and I love that. There's a few sketchbooks that are not even opened but ready to go. I don't know if anybody else needs this, but I certainly need to be able to see my calendar because it's gotten really busy this week. Normally, yeah, I picked those. These are the most beautiful lemony yellow sunflowers, and I'm going to be painting those. If you don't have one of these carts and you truck things plein air, I tell you, they're worth their weight in gold. I think that's about it. There are more questions. A little Gamsol. You are allowed to use Gamsol as a solvent. I'm not breaking any rules there, but for an overview of the studio, these are not, of course, my carts. Those are theirs. And I'll show you the most important thing for me this week. And it has been that little puppy right there, because it has gotten so hot. The studio is, thank goodness, air conditioned. This is where the proof is in the pudding. The importance of, you know, sort of being comfortable. I have really expensive papers that I've had to wait under here because it was just so humid, everything was curling. But that's it. I'm sure there's questions about residencies and how you apply for them and how you get them. I have to say, I would, after talking to everyone here in Nantucket, you know, there is a backlog, and I don't see that changing. Everyone who had residencies scheduled for this year has pushed them out to next year. And of course, I don't know, at this point, I think we're all just hoping that next year is normal, whatever that means. For me on Nantucket, I will tell you the one thing that I can vouch for is that from the moment I got here, I have been wearing and always carrying a mask with me. I have literally seen no one without a mask. And there's a fine downtown of $300 if you're caught not wearing one. So there's that. All right, are we ready for some questions, or should I?
Sure. So it looks like, so first of all, please type your questions into the chat box. I think I have a little bit of feedback there. And we will unmute you to answer those. So it looks like our first question came from Susan Mary, and it will just take me a second to find you on the alphabetical list.
I like it. Oh, I've now found them. Okay.
Susan, can you hear me?
Yes.
So you had a question for Margaret.
Oh, hi, Margaret.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry I'm not visible, but I'm laying down. I'm laying down. Taking it easy. So I just wondered about the brand name of that cart. That looks really useful, the red cart.
You know, oh, the red cart. Gosh, let me see if I can find it on there. You know, I saw someone, I know I got it on Amazon. I know that it was a sale. It's called MAC is the brand.
Okay.
And I can tell you that it said it, you know, not for children, but that it can take like up to 150 pounds.
Yeah.
So
looks really useful for hauling around art stuff.
Especially, you know, I've used it a lot. Like I've gone up to Monhegan, and you know, it's great that everything is packed in containers there, and it comes off the ferry, it gets delivered to your house, you walk up. But this is what we used to, you know, buy extra water and haul it up the hill. I mean, this I have really put through the paces. It folds up flat, and I don't know if you saw this before, but I'll show you now. It has a little flap that's actually a drink holder. I'm sure that people use it for many different reasons. I can tell you I've never used the drink holder, but it's a great tool.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, our next question is from Adriana Pratt. Oh, you unmuted yourself. Good job, Adriana. Go ahead.
Hi, Margaret. How are you? I'm here. Thank you so much. This is very generous of you to show us the residency. This is great, and I'm very excited for you that you can do an actual, you know, in place residency. Some friends that I know have been doing online virtual ones, and I don't think that's a good way. So I'm curious to know, because you must have applied long ago for this residency. So I guess if you could tell us about the project that you had in mind when you
Sure.
and whether it changed because of the pandemic situation. Thank you.
Yes. Again, what I will do tonight is I will post on my Instagram. I've been very hesitant to post a series that I've been working on this year. One of the biggest paintings in the series was actually used on the notice for this studio tour, but I've been painting sort of what I like to think of as, you know, I'm in the weeds, literally. I have been all over. And on Nantucket, the weeds are fortunately very different. I've done a lot of sketches, haven't started the paintings yet. This week I will be getting those all blocked in, probably 4 more, of an area that's called, let me get it now, Squam Swamp. And I sort of talked about this as one of my missions, because I have been working on, you know, weeds near marshes and weeds in the woodlands and weeds up north and weeds on the Cape. I'm calling them weeds because I don't think most of us would really consider them eligible for our gardens. But they're very beautiful, and I think, you know, it's sort of part of this, you know, respect and cherish the earth. And certainly we've seen these unnamed species flourishing without so much foot traffic and things. So Squam Swamp here on Nantucket is a nature conserved land, and it actually has old growth, and there is what's called the hidden forest, and there's lots and lots of wetlands, which, as I said, I've got this bad back going, and it's been interesting to sort of get to the edges of it and see what I can see. I have not gone deep in yet. So that's sort of what I talked about, was wanting to paint both the parts of Nantucket that everyone sees and relates to, sort of a coastal beachland, right, an island, and then also go deeper. You know, when the first settlers came to Nantucket, they described how the island was totally wooded. And of course, with shipbuilding and house building and everything else, clearing the land for farms, that old growth was all cut and not much of it was replaced. So this sanctuary really is that. And that's what I talked about a lot. Now, the other thing that I've done is and this was sort of my add-on when I thought I'd be here in March and I wasn't sure what the weather would be like. I've just started doing portrait work, and the good news about Nantucket is that there's not much work in the off season, and so the models are plentiful and wonderful. So I've had a model come in probably 3 days a week, and I'll be doing that again. And for me, that's sort of, it's a nice way to use another part of my brain. I do a lot of figure drawing, but I haven't done a lot of portrait work. I don't know if she'll show, but there's one up there on the easel. And that's been a departure, but fully supported by everyone here. I can't tell you the interest and support. Downstairs in their beautiful gallery, they have hung my paintings. I was limited in how many I could bring, but it's kind of cool that part of the residency is putting your work up there, because not only the other artists, but anyone who's visiting this building sees your work. And of course, there's always the option to hope for some sales. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I can tell you, it was very important that I be specific in what my goals were. And I was able to do that, I think, in the application process.
Fantastic. And can you remind me for how long you will be there?
Yes.
At the moment?
Originally, it was supposed to be 3 weeks. Then it was changed, and that was fine with me, to 2 weeks, just because the need to accommodate so many artists who had been scheduled for March, April, May. And, you know, I'll be honest, for anyone in New England who's interested in a residency, it's a really smart thing to reach out to, you know, wherever it is that you're interested in now, because where you might be able to drive an artist who is coming from California, or, you know, Texas will not be coming. So it's very likely your odds are better right now than ever before.
Well, thank you so much. That sounds great, and you have a lot to do. So, good luck. A lot of success to you.
Thank you.
So Edie Friedlander has another sort of residency follow-up question. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Edie. Did that work? Yep. Go ahead.
My question is, one of the benefits for the residency is the participation and collaborative work with other artists. So my question is, how do you see that unfolding?
I can tell you that this year is unlike any other. And this residency is unlike so many others. You know, if you think about the McDowell colony, that is certainly a communal experience and exchange. Vermont Studio, everyone's eating together. There's everybody getting together and talking. This is much more of an individual effort. That being said, the artists who are here have been really great. And I will be doing plein air painting with a group of artists from this association who are islanders. And we're going to be doing that, are you ready? Thursday morning at 7. So I think this is unusual in that there isn't a group. It's one artist at a time in a residency.
Okay.
But, you know, you sort of make your own connections around here. And I think that's, if anyone knows, when you paint in public, the trick is to talk to fewer people, not more. And the difference is sometimes you get other artists. So that's been fascinating to me. Yeah, but that's
I know some organizations, they're doing this social distancing where they have maybe people, especially if it's the artwork is community engagement or you need other people's input, where they have people sit like 6 feet, you know, separate from each other. Do you think the Nantucket residency program will be able to do that going forward if things don't change?
I think it's on their radar. I can tell you that they are doing classes for adults and children, and I've seen that they spread them out within those sort of larger studios. I think for the residency here still is going to be less communal, just by nature of it having only one apartment. But, you know, I have to tell you that having the freedom to think and finish your thoughts, right? I mean, we have family, we have friends, we have obligations. This has been pretty sweet for me. I have done more writing related to my artwork than I would have before because of that solo experience.
Thanks.
Great. Okay, we have 2 more questions. The first one is from Rebecca McGee-Tuck. I'm going to unmute you, Rebecca.
Hi, congratulations on your residency. And I had that art cart and I can't live without it.
Good.
I'm wondering, is that residency only for TV and painting, or are there sculptures that?
Well, I know, I can tell you, I would suggest you look on the website, but I can tell you that I know there's a printmaking studio. I know downstairs there's a ceramic studio. And I know that one of the 2 artists that I said hello to at the beginning, one of them is a jeweler. So I think there's other things. Was there anything specific you were looking for?
No, I just wanted to know if you were around any other like sculptors or anything there, or is it just mostly plein air painters and things?
I think it runs the gamut, to tell you the truth. I have one thing that I probably should have shown you, but on the entrance wall into my apartment, artists, this facility has only been here since I think 2015, and artists have put up small drawings right on the wall, and there have been there's some really cool sculptures that were attached to the wall. So I think that, you know, all artists are welcome.
Great, thanks. I'll check into it.
Good.
Yeah, and Rebecca, I did include in the chat, which will be saved and we can send it to you, the link to the artist residency page. And looking at it, it does look like there have been sculptor residents.
Thanks.
For sure.
Okay, so we have a question from Sally Lebois.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sally.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Oh, I need to unmute myself.
You're unmuted, Sally. You just muted yourself again.
Oh, it happens.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
It looks like a great situation for you.
Yeah.
So I think you answered one of the questions. I wasn't sure if what you were showing us was where you're actually living.
Yes.
So it's all included in the same space. Got it.
Yes. And I should say, I know that there are some sort of full rides available, you know, where there's no cost to the artist. And then there are some artists who they accept who offer to pay, or there is a scale. So if anyone's looking at it, be prepared. It could cost you a few bucks.
Okay, and so you, it sounds like you've done other residencies possibly before. Are you?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I have to admit, no, I haven't. And that was one of the reasons why this appealed to me. I knew I wanted to look at Nantucket. I can't tell you that I haven't applied. I have sadly been rejected a few years ago from the Vermont Studio School. I thought, Vermont Studio Center, I suppose it is. And you know, what's interesting, and maybe only to me, is that when I was in architecture school, I did a thesis on the MacDowell colony. And I sort of had a glimpse into that, and I thought all residencies were like MacDowell. So it took me a while to educate myself and see that there were different options for different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good to hear. I mean, it sounds like what you're researching in your art is so well suited. I mean, it's so specific, you know, to that environment that it's wonderful. So good luck, enjoy.
Well, thank you, I will.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so do we have any final questions for Margaret, since we're just about at the 1 o'clock mark? I did include, because Margaret mentioned her Instagram, if you look in the chat, you can find her Instagram as well as her website. So you can follow along and see what she's doing in Nantucket. Paul Beckingham says that he also loves those rosemary evergreen daggers. So
they are so amazing. Actually, all of Rosemary's brushes. I just want to say, if you're a painter, you've got to look on that website, Rosemary and Company. Best brush I've ever used. Richard Schmid says he'll never use another, for what it's worth. Let's see, anything else, or should we sign off now?
I think if no one else has any other questions, I just want to let everybody know that we will be back here for another virtual studio visit. Wait, I'm going to cancel the spotlight. We'll be back for another virtual studio visit on Thursday, also at 12:30, this Thursday, whatever day that is, the 16th, at 12:30 with Molly McLaughlin. I see Molly on here taking notes. And after that, we're going to be working on scheduling additional virtual studio visits. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, this is recorded. You'll be able to see it live on Facebook right after the recording wraps, and they'll also be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So I want to thank Margaret for hosting us on Nantucket. We can all experience Wanderlust virtually.
True.
And good luck with the rest of your time there.
Well, thank you. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can go on my Instagram and ask me, or just hit me up with an email. I'm happy to share whatever I can with you.
Great. Everybody's
Thanks,
on mute.
Erin.
So thank you, Margaret.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Oh, listen to that feedback.
Oh, yeah. I think that's you, Margaret.
Oh, no. I turned it off.
I don't know. I'm not a tech expert, so I'm learning still.
I
But,
hope I didn't shake too much, Erin.
no, it was fine.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so we'll be back on Thursday. We're going to learn about weaving.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.